The Cadillac ELR. It's incredibly expensive and it's just a fancy Chevrolet Volt. That's what a lot of people have you believe when talking about this car. Things like, does it drive well? Is it efficient? Is it luxurious? And is it any good? Seem to be secondary thoughts at best. But not to us. We want to see if this truly is something special and if it lives up to its price tag and the crest on the front. Power for the ELR arrives to the front wheels through an electric motor that is paired up to a 1.4-liter gasoline engine that is used as both a generator and a power adder. Total system output is 217 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Cadillac states the car can drive upwards of 37 miles on pure electric power, and we've been routinely seeing about 35 miles on each of our charges. Fuel economy ratings for the ELR are pegged at 82 miles per gallon equivalent, but that drops down to roughly 33 miles per gallon when the gasoline engine is fully engaged. Oh yes, and then there is that price. Starting at close to $76,000, our loaded up ELR rings in at an eye-opening $82,135 after destination charges. When Cadillac first confirmed the ELR was headed to production, comparisons with the Tesla Model S were immediate. Both, after all, are luxury cars and both are designed to run on electric power. Well, most of the time at least. But other than that, the comparison between the two cars isn't really that valid. Unless someone's buying this car purely to make a statement, they aren't really that similar. One is a four-door sedan that can carry upwards of 7 people, while the other is a two-door coupe, not really capable of carrying more than 2 people. One's a pure electric car with a long range, while the other one, for all intents and purposes, is a hybrid. And I don't even get into the fact that one has the engine in the back and one has the engine in the front, etc., etc. A closer competitor is the Mercedes-Benz E-Class Coupe. This vehicle is slower in a straight line than, say, the E350, but it weighs about the same, is the same size, and can take a corner just as well. The downside, of course, is this car does cost more than a fully loaded E550 coupe, but there's no question which one is more efficient. Part of the secret to the efficiency of the ELR has to do with the regenerative braking. Like any hybrid or electric car, there are brakes that recapture energy when you coast or step on the brake pedal. But unlike those cars, there's paddles mounted behind the steering wheel here that allow you to do regen braking on demand. What it does is give you maximum regenerative braking without touching your real brakes. It's great to extend your range as well as maximize the efficiency you have on a single charge. I really like the system a lot and I've been using it quite a bit, but it's not perfect. The paddles are more like on-off switches and there's no modulation to how hard you press them to how much braking there is. I wish GM would build that in because I think that would really help the system out a lot. Having maximum braking or nothing at all makes smooth driving difficult and you may make your passengers a little motion sick while you're using this feature. And another way to maximize range in the ELR is using the hold mode. What this does is it lets you override the computers and manually turn on the gasoline engine. You may be asking, why would you want to do that? Well, it's great for commuters like me. You can drive to the highway in pure electric mode, and then when you get on the highway, switch over to the gasoline mode. The reason for this is driving on the highway is the least efficient way to use an electric vehicle, and it's also the most efficient way to use a gasoline engine. Then when you get off the highway on the final part of your commute, you switch back to electric mode. Overall, this will get you the maximum efficiency out of both engine and motor. The gasoline engine can also be turned on if the driver wants a little more power. Now, I said earlier this vehicle makes 217 horsepower, but that's not completely accurate because that power is used in 2 electric motors. There's only 181 horsepower ever sent to the front wheels, and that's when you're using both gasoline and electric power. When you're just in EV mode, the power number drops to 157 horsepower. No matter what mode you're in, there's always 295 pound-feet of torque, and the car feels faster than it really is thanks to all that thrusty torque from the electric motor. Case in point, Cadillac officially rates this car in dual mode at 0 to 60 in under 8 seconds. When the electric motor finally does run out of juice, the transition from EV mode to extended range mode is very smooth. You can hear the engine just a little bit and you can feel some vibrations through the steering wheel and pedals, but it's no more intrusive than it is in a normal luxury car. And when the RPMs are kept low, you'd barely even notice it's on. Like the Volt this car is based on, the ELR really does drive like a regular car. It doesn't have any of that artificial feeling that a lot of EVs suffer from. It's not all perfect though. The regen braking is a little too grabby and the throttle is a bit delayed. Those who want a little more sport in their driving can select the Sport mode, which stiffens up the steering, gives you a little more throttle response, and stiffens up the adaptive dampers in the suspension. Inside, this car couldn't be any more Cadillac. In fact, it's stolen a lot of the CTS design elements like the center stack and this motorized cup holder. Look at it go. I really like the configurable gauge cluster in this car, and it may be the best from Cadillac. It has a permanent ring surrounded by 3 display screens that really set it off. GM's luxury brand may have gone a little overboard though. There is leather, microfiber suede, wood, aluminum, and carbon fiber all on the door alone. Oh, and apparently there is choreographed LED lighting inside this car. Sightlines in this car suck, but that should be expected in a stylish two-door coupe. There is more usable front legroom and headroom in this car than the E-Class coupe, and the back seat does offer a little more legroom. But overall, back seat and trunk space are quite cramped, but what should you expect from a hybrid stuffed full of batteries? But the best part inside the ELR has to be the sound, or lack thereof. It is so quiet in here, especially when you're driving in battery mode. Part of this has to do with the Bose audio system that provides active sound cancelling. There's no denying the ELR is a stylish luxury coupe. It's more than just a fancy Volt. It delivers a sophisticated drive, is full of luxury inside, and has been fairly efficient. Honestly, it surprised me, and it's a better car than I was expecting. But that price tag is still an issue. At a lower price point, it may be worth its value, but at $80K, it needs either 100 more horsepower, 100 more miles of range, or both.